you again for being here. So did want to give a quick announcement. Quinn is here with us, and for those that don't know, we had the scholarship drawing for the NAMA Youth, the large foray they do annually up in Michigan. And Quinn is our winner, so Quinn's going to be going up there. And I did discuss with Quinn via email that part of that winning is to come back and give us a little presentation and talk about what was seen, what all happened up there, all the amazing moments, the workshops, etc. So yeah, can't wait to hear about your experience up there, Quinn. And instead of saving it for the end, I'll talk now. I still want to hold a fundraiser, one for club funds, but also to help raise funds for Quinn's travel up to Michigan. That was looking at about $400 or $500 when I kind of mapped out what travel costs would be to and from there. And unfortunately, now that we're using the library system to hold free meetings, we cannot have any passing of money in the library. So yes, it is chuckle-worthy, but it's fair. And I am hoping that if we can't be at the new Ag Center next month, that we're gonna figure something out. I'd still like to hold a fundraiser to help you get up there. Still thinking art-based. If anyone's artistic and wants to donate something that could be sold or raffled off in a fundraiser style, I'd like to do some paintings and stickers and patches, small things. But we can talk outside of the meeting too if you're interested in donating anything. Or know any places that would be willing to donate something. So yeah, that's my hope and dreams for next month, but still in the planning process for that. So today we are going to be discussing boletes, and I did ask my dear mom to give us a presentation on this. During my first meeting, we went around the room and talked about what each person's favorite mushrooms were, and mom did say boletes. So she's gonna introduce herself and talk about these beautiful family of mushrooms. And so many things we could say. We could talk for hours about boletes for sure. And she has made an exceptional short version of being able to do that within 35-40 minutes instead of 3 hours like I think the Boletes did. So yeah. So you can come on up. Okay. Perfect. I am gonna cut off at least one light here. Let's see how that goes. Yep, John, you got it.
Alright, you guys. Do you know what time it is?
It's too late.
Outside, I mean, not right here. It's bolete time,
Yeah.
right? Right, it's just right around the corner.
It's too
We
late.
went out today and we found some boletes and I see like
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
too many.
over there. So yeah, it's bolete time. I'm Michelle Marshall. I'm not an expert by any means. A lot of you probably know way more than I do. I've been foraging for mushrooms for maybe 10 years and boletes for maybe 7 or 8 of those. I was afraid of boletes at first. When we were 7 or 8 years ago, I was watching a show called Alone where these contestants compete against each other to survive out in the woods, and a lot of them were eating boletes. And I was like, oh, maybe I should like explore this a lot farther. And I learned that boletes is one of the safest categories of mushrooms that there are for beginner mushroomers, for beginner foragers. It's a fairly safe category of mushrooms. There's only been a couple of deaths known to be caused by boletes, and out of the hundreds of varieties of boletes, there's only a few that are toxic. So it's a pretty good category. And today I want to talk about the 3 rules that you could follow to like never get those toxic mushrooms. So it makes foraging for boletes a pretty good one for beginner mushroomers. So why do I love boletes? Boletes are very abundant. I get excited to find a lion's mane, but I can like go a whole season without finding one. And I'll get super happy to find a maitake, but I've only found one once in my whole life. But during the summer, late summer, early autumn months, you can go out if the weather's been cooperating and find boletes. So they are very abundant. They are tasty, at least I like them. As I said before, they're fairly safe, and they preserve really, really well. So I feel like from a practical standpoint, what's not to love? If you wanna find boletes, preserve them for the winter, eat them all year, it's a good mushroom to like. Also I wanna say, jump in with comments, questions. I want this to be kind of a talk as much as a presentation, so feel free to ask questions too, or give some insights. What is a bolete? So a bolete is a fleshy mushroom with a cap, a spongy pore surface on the underside of a cap. It usually has a stalk. The stalk is not exactly central, but usually it's pretty much in the center of the cap. What else can I say? They grow terrestrially almost all the time. Late summer, late July through October maybe, September, October-ish. So this is almost peak bolete season right now. What else can I say? They have a mycorrhizal association with trees and shrubs. So the mycelium provides some nutrients to trees and shrubs, such as nitrogen, potassium, and trees and shrubs in turn provide some simple sugars to the mushroom and the mycelium. So that's kind of a neat fact. They can be found under broadleaf trees, under conifers, and in your backyard in the grass. So they are pretty much anywhere that you go look. There's several types of species of boletes. There's Boletes, Suellus, Tylopilus, and I'm gonna butcher some of these names for sure.
Okay, we would too.
Lachinum, I think is how you pronounce it, amongst others. I think Tylopilus is bitter boletes, and Lachinum is like a bolete with a bunch of scabers on the stems. And I have a few pictures of Suellus later on in this talk. Let's see, so the pore surface. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna just pass these around and let you guys handle them and look at them. And look at I forgot to mention that under the cap is a layer of tubes, and you break open the mushrooms if you want to. I forgot to bring a knife to cut them open, but if you break them open, you can kind of see those layer tubes. And up here on the far right, they're so closely packed you can barely see the pores. And down here below, you can see the pores really well. So there's a wide variety there of the pore surface of boletes, but these are all boletes.
Sorry, the different Calatheas are they represented here?
Not in this picture. Yeah, I don't think any of these, and I don't even know how to tell you, you know by taste. Like when you go out and you do the little taste test and you nibble on it, and maybe not all bitter boletes are in that category, but
Right.
everything in that category is bitter, I believe. But I don't know the individual mushrooms too well, and I'm not sure I have a picture of any of them here today.
There's a Tylopilus back there.
Is there?
It's a bitter bolete. It's, found a lot of times in purple.
Yes.
Yeah, they look
yes.
like they should be
Purple
great.
stems
Violet.
tend to be bitter. in my
Yeah.
experience.
Right.
I just turned to it.
I think so.
Ah. So,
Basically, that's
you do not want one of those in your mix of mushrooms. Like one of those will ruin, if you put a bunch of mushrooms together in a dish, one of those guys will ruin your whole dish. So you do not want it. It's not poisonous, but it just won't taste good. So key characteristics when identifying a bolete, and I'm not gonna go too much into these, but you wanna look at your cap, what color is it, what size is it, what is the texture, is it like dry or tacky or velvety? The stem, what color is it and size, does it have some ornamentation on it, like reticulation, which is lines going up and down the thing, or does it have some of those resinous little dots like your Suellus might? Does it have scales? Is there a ring present on the stalk or like a partial veil? Where were you when you found the mushroom? What kind of trees are nearby? All of these things will help identify what the mushroom is. And if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, you can take spore prints and look at the spores. You can like smell the underside of it. Does it smell like chemicals or beef bouillon or fruity or just plain mushroomy? You always want to taste the bolete. I just do this right out in the field when I pick one because it will look great. And you go to taste it and you kind of nibble on it for 5 or 10 seconds, spit it out. Don't swallow that ever, but spit it out, totally safe to do. And if it's bitter, just toss it. Sometimes you can get really lucky and find a whole patch of the same bolete or what looks like the same bolete, and I'll usually just taste test one of them. Yeah, it tastes great. Those are going into my basket. if they don't fall into the scary category. Solid mushroom.
That's
If
one
you
of the
really
better
wanna get
ones,
into the
isn't it?
nitty gritty, there's chemical analysis that you can do, like putting a drop of these chemicals on it and it will flash a certain color. And this book here, The Boletes of Eastern North America, which is a great book, a lot of times in each mushroom, it will tell you for the chemical analysis how the mushroom will react. And then there's, if you really, really need to identify the mushroom, you can look microscopic analysis to look at the pore surface or the spores. Do I ever do any of this? No, because I am way too lazy and it's not that good with details.
Did you know what this one was with that bright yellow stalk?
Yeah, I do not. Is
It's
the pore
really full.
surface yellow and it
That's
stains
a
really
light
good?
yellow, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I've never seen with that color of stalk.
Yeah, I
It
don't know what
doesn't
that
bruise.
is.
Or it's slow bruising.
So, is it necessary to identify exactly what bolete you have? So identifying that you have a bolete is easy. You can see, it's got the cap, it's got the pore surface and everything, you know you have a bolete. But identifying exactly what bolete you have can be pretty tricky, like right down to the microscopic analysis. And according to Michael Crow, this was my very first mushroom book, 100 Edible Mushrooms by Michael Crow. According to him, there's three categories of boletes that contain some toxic species. So it's not important to know exactly what bolete you have, but you just wanna make sure it's not in one of those three categories, which I'm gonna go over here in a little bit. Actually, right now. Okay, so to not poison yourself with boletes, these are the three categories that I avoid, with some exceptions. A red pore surface. Yeah, and actually, if you're new to foraging mushrooms, write this down and take it with you in your backpack or in your basket or whatever. Red pore surface. A yellow or an orange pore surface that bruises blue. Now there are edible mushrooms in these categories, but if your main goal is to be safe, these are the categories that you want to avoid. And then the last one is the orange-capped lichina species, which I have a picture of later in the slides, and I'll show you. But as long as you avoid collecting these mushrooms, like you find a mushroom, make sure it's not in this category, do your taste test, spit it out, and then take it home if it passes the taste test and passes this test. So my main goal with today's presentation is I just want to get you comfortable with foraging boletes if you're kind of new to foraging. As long as you follow these rules, you should be safe. So, my first bolete that I want to show you breaks rule number 1. Right? The candy apple bolete, or the bolete, frost bolete. It's got the dark red cap, the red surface, but no other mushroom looks like this. It's got the golden drops. Usually it has these little golden drops on the pore surface that are just kind of dripping down. Like nothing else looks like this. And also it's just screaming, take a picture of me. It's got the deep reticulation on the stalk, and kind of a tacky, sticky surface up top. But this is a great edible mushroom. A word of caution: not everybody can tolerate the frost bolete. With all mushrooms, if it's your first time tasting it, start small and make sure that you don't react to it badly. And did you have a question?
I was just wondering how common those are. I've never seen
They're
them.
pretty common. It's just fairly common here. I'll find a few each season. Yeah.
But right now you can find them.
I've not found one yet this
Okay.
season, but
Don't
most
jinx it.
seasons I do. Yeah.
On Night Naturalist, someone had found one in July in previous years. I have only found those at Night Brown, personally.
I have found them up at Hanging Rock
Hanging
before.
Rock, okay.
I've seen the horizons.
Up horizons, yeah. It's just a beautiful mushroom too, so it does break rule number 1, but nothing else looks like this. So, alright, second mushroom. I do not care for the taste of Old Man of the Woods. I find it weird and the texture weird. Corey loves them, but she loves all mushrooms, so I'm not sure you can count that. This mushroom it's darkish gray to blackish with black scales all over it, maybe kind of white underneath. The flesh is white. The pore surface is white when it's young, but it turns kind of grayish, pinkish when it ages. And it often will have some partial veil remnants hanging from the edge. But it is a cool mushroom. When I find one, I just think, it just looks so cool. And here's a couple more pictures from Corey. A lot of these pictures are Corey's pictures, but I'm not sure you guys can see it in the slide. It's starting to turn a little pinkish brown up in the top there on the pore surface. You can see some of that partial veil hanging on that picture. And a neat picture about Old Man of the Woods is if you cut it in half, it turns orangish red, almost like meat, and then eventually black. So it's just kind of a weird coloration thing, which also tells me I don't really want to eat this. But totally edible, totally edible.
But it'll turn whatever you cook it with black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to
If you
know.
use it in pasta.
Uh-huh, it turns
it'll be black pasta.
That's a way to scare people
Yeah.
watching.
Tempting.
Yeah.
All right, the shaggy stalked bolete. It is an orange capped bolete, but it also doesn't look like anything else, right? It's got this tiny cap and this crazy long shaggy stem with the deep reticulation on the stem. The cap is like kind of orangish red, often with a yellow margin. People like to eat the stems. I like to slice them into little rounds and fry them. You can get them crisp or put them on salads. They have kind of a lemony taste.
Yeah.
A really good mushroom. A lot of people don't eat the caps. They just want the stems.
They're
And
really little.
If they're really little, yeah, the bigger caps, those tubes just kind of get weird, and I don't like that texture either. Also, I was so excited. Corey and I went this morning looking for mushrooms, and I'm gonna pass this around the room.
I
But
started-
I'm
I
very
made up a song.
excited.
Oh.
We found a shaggy bolete. It has crazy weird mycelium at the bottom, which is very common, but you can see how tall it is and everything. And I'm gonna start on this room and pass this around, but we were so excited to find one and only
Yeah.
shaggy bolete today. Shaggy boletes are very common here though. Like,
Yeah.
I find them in lots of places, Salem Lake, the Hanging Rock area, some of the preserves. We found this at Night Brown today. I was surprised to find it right now. I expected it later in the season, but we were excited to find this one mushroom today. These grow under a mix of broadleaf trees and pines. And that's all I have to say about it. Some more pictures from Corey's arsenal of pictures. The black velvet bolete, I saw that somebody brought one in today. Kind of like the Old Man of the Woods, except without the scales. The flesh is white, and it will stain the pinkish reddish when you expose when you cut it in half. Eventually it turns blackish. The pores are white, and they'll turn pinkish brown with age. It's got mild flavor and firm texture, so it's kind of like Old Man, but much nicer, much better tasting. And you'll find some of those, I've found a few of these in the past here in this area. So, and then the King Bolete family, which includes porcini and sep. One of the most sought after boletes, kind of hard to find. I haven't had a lot of luck finding a lot of these, but they are excellent when you do find them. The pores are white when young and they turn a little yellowish. Does not stain when you scratch or handle it. The stalk is really thick, sometimes really thick, like bulbous, thick, solid. It can be like white to palish brown. A lot of mushrooms look like this. Again, I would just do a taste test, see if it's bitter or not. And if it's not, take that thing home. It's gonna be a good one. The Suelis family, there's not a lot to say about this. It includes the Slippery Jack and Slippery Jane. I don't exactly know what these Suelises are. Suelises often have a sticky top, and so when you find them, the pine needles and leaf litter will be stuck to it. You have to get that off. A lot of people will peel that outer layer off before they cook them and eat them. I don't think I've bothered with that. Suelis, you can't see it in these pictures, but a lot of times they'll have little granular dots on the stem. Is a key feature that's not here, but that's the Suelis family. And then the variable stalk bolete. This is, I think, closely related to the king bolete. But what I wanted to show with this slide is, this is the same kind of mushroom, and this is true with a lot of boletes. When it's young, it will have a very convex cap. And as that mushroom ages, that cap will flatten out a little bit or be less convex. So the same mushroom can look very different depending on the age. Okay.
I found some of those like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not 100% sure if it was Repes or Atkinson's. They're pretty
They're close.
hard to, but they're both in that edgeless clay. So.
Uh-huh,
And they were good.
Oh.
They were sweet and nutty and
yeah.
they were good.
I feel like I hardly ever find these really nice mushrooms. These are definitely gold when I go out.
The best one I ever found was at Hagenstone.
Yeah.
I think we were gone that time of year.
Oh, yeah.
It was so big.
I think Repes in Latin might mean wrinkled cap. They kind of have a wrinkled
Oh.
cap.
Okay, yeah. All right, I wanna show this slide one more time. This is what I kinda wanna hammer in. It's just to avoid these three categories of mushrooms, not like how this says not food. Red pore surface, or yellow or orange pore surface that stains blue, or the orange capped lachinum, and that's on the next slide. So let me show what that mushroom looks like. So it has lachinum. I think lachinum mushrooms always have these granular dots on the stem. And there's a lot of edibles in this category, but a couple of them at least are poisonous, or at least mildly poisonous, or they will make you unhappy when you eat them. But look, for the poisonous ones, you just wanna avoid the orange cap and look for the scabers on the stem. There's a lot of brown capped ones that are completely edible and fine, just avoid the orange one. Or if you just wanna make your life easy, just remember orange cap, bad, except for shaggy.
What's the
That's-
pore surface on this look like?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you could find it kinda quick in that book. Yeah, I should have known that. I don't know. We'll come back to that when she finds the answer. So in the kitchen, or maybe I should say even before you get to the kitchen, brush your mushrooms off in the field. If it's kind of older, it looks like it could be buggy, cut it in half and see how it looks. A lot of times the cap is perfectly fine, but the stem is buggy. Just cut that thing off before you throw it in your basket.
The answer was just like all the others. Tight pores, very similar.
What color?
The Latinum.
I mean, what color is the
Oh,
pore
it's a
surface?
range.
Oh, range, okay.
Yeah.
It looks like white and gray and,
Yeah, a lot of white.
okay.
Buff.
Yeah, clean your mushrooms off in the field, like, don't
Very
put a
white.
dirty mushroom in with your other clean mushrooms, out in the field, it's just gonna get all your mushrooms dirty. You wanna refrigerate your boletes as soon as possible. And a lot of times, if I'm doing it out and back, I won't pick that mushroom until I'm going back to the car, just to kinda save it as long as possible. But the last thing you wanna do is leave your bag of boletes in a hot car for any amount of time. You don't wanna go home and like throw them on the counter and then forget about them until like a day or two later. They deteriorate pretty quickly. And if there's any larvae in them or whatever, those things will just definitely grow or whatever. So, refrigerate as soon as possible. Let's see. I like to just kind of clean them off, picking stuff off and cleaning with a damp cloth. For most boletes, you don't want to submerge in water or even rinse underwater because they will soak up water like a sponge. A lot of them will. So just clean them with a damp cloth. Maybe pick your boletes where dogs have not been peeing. It's one thing, if you have an area where you think a lot of dogs might be like peeing on them, just avoid those. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but you can peel off that layer of tubes. If the tubes are really long, they get kind of slimy and gross when you're cooking them, at least I think so. And they're very easy just to peel off on most of those mushrooms. So that's one thing that you might want to do. I like to slice these things up and just fry them in butter and olive oil. Maybe add some garlic or lemon or some herbs and salt and pepper. They go good in everything. Toss them with pasta, throw them on your salad, eat them straight up. Let's see. Oh, also a good resource, you guys probably already know this, but foragerchef.com has great recipes. He also has videos, or a write-up about specific mushrooms. So that's a good source if you're looking for some ideas about how to cook these things. Let's see, a picture of a couple years ago, when Corey was home from Nevada, we just had a crazy good year. We were finding so many mushrooms, and this is just a slide of some of the mushrooms we had found that year. We had dried a whole big tub of dried mushrooms.
Like over a gallon. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
it was crazy.
And Boletes dry well?
Yes, so that's my next thing. That's one of the reasons I love Boletes. They preserve really well. And when you dehydrate them, that's kind of the go-to method. The flavor intensifies and it keeps good texture and everything. So I like to dehydrate them. I like to use a dehydrator, but you can also use an oven, set at the lowest setting and with the door open a little bit. During the summer when you're running AC, it might not be the best thing for your electricity bill to like be running the oven and the AC at the same time. When I dehydrate them, I do it at 125 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit for 4 to 8 hours. And you know that your boletes are dry enough, if you bend them, they break and they snap. You know that they're dry. And then you just put them in an airtight container and you store in a dark, cool place. And they'll last months, if not years, that way. They don't last years in my house because I don't eat them up, but they should last a good long time that way, yeah.
Sorry, I've never dehydrated, so do you rehydrate it before you cook it?
Yes.
Okay.
My next slide.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. But first, I want to show off a couple years ago. These are not all Boletes, so these are Old Man in the Woods because Corey wants to eat them.
They make a good broth, y'all.
That is true. That is true. If you
Don't
don't
pop
like
it
the
till you
texture,
try it.
yeah.
A lot of things make it rough.
That's true about a lot of mushrooms
Yeah.
actually. Like puffballs and things, you might not want to eat them
Black
like that.
staining.
But you can like
Yeah.
grind these things up and use them as a soup base or whatever, powder them up, so that's very true with Old Man. These are Boletes here, very different kinds. This is not a Bolete, this is the indigo milky indigo, indigo milky. Some of them are back there. Thanks, you found them, Jessica?
Tim and Quinn found some.
Okay. Quinn, that basket of mushrooms that you brought in was crazy pretty. A few cinnamon bars here. So anyway, this is just a dehydrator tray, one of many that we put into the dehydrator that day. We had so many so many mushrooms that year. So anyway, rehydrating your dried boletes. I like to soak them in water or broth for 20 to 30 minutes, and you don't want to over soak. I mean, they'll turn mushier and mushier as you soak them. So 20 to 30 minutes. I've not tried this, that you can soak them in either red or white wine, and then it only takes a few minutes. It sounds fun. I think I'm gonna try it and drink some wine while I'm at it.
Brandy's good.
But I've not tried that, huh?
Brandy's good too.
Yeah? So you
Wow.
try that? Do you agree that it's only a few minutes when you soak it that way? 'Cause
I
that's
never
what
tested it.
Sit on the
I
internet.
just
He just
got.
knows right.
The
now.
alcohol.
Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, I was feeling pretty good by then.
Yeah. I'm totally gonna test this, but I don't know, that's what I saw on the internet, was just a few minutes when you soak it in wine or brandy, I guess. So, you lift the mushrooms out of liquid, maybe gently squeeze them to get any excess moisture out, but again, don't over soak. If you're using these in a soup, don't even pre-soak them. Throw them in the last 15 to 20 minutes of while you're cooking the soup. You don't wanna throw them in too early, because same thing, they'll just kinda start turning to mush or whatever, so you wanna throw them in later. Just long enough for them to get heated up and soak up some of that stuff. Don't throw out that soaking liquid. Very tasty stuff, like wherever you soak your dried mushrooms. That broth smells great, it tastes great, it can be used to cook your rice, your pasta, put it in your soups, put it in your sauces. Yeah, don't throw that out.
You can freeze it
You
really
can freeze
easily,
it?
and,
Yeah.
freeze it. You can put it,
That's a good idea.
I like to put it in ice cube trays,
Uh-huh,
and then
Yeah.
you kind of portion out when you're making stuff.
great idea. Yeah. That's so many things, when it calls for vegetable broth, just use your mushroom broth, yeah. We're excited. So, the book I started with was Michael Crow's book, but the Belief book is excellent, especially if you wanna get into the nitty gritty of identifying your mushroom. It's got a great key in here to do that. It's been used quite a bit. Also, Forager Chef is a great resource for cooking the mushrooms. And I just want to end with saying, like, go out, this is the season, it's getting started, go out and look for boletes with some confidence. So, thank you. That's it.
That was good timing. Anyone have any questions about all this, comments?
Was there, a sample of the orange with the blue bruising?
Yes.
Can I see that again?
Actually, I feel like most of the mushrooms we found this morning were the ones that I would not,
Yeah, one of them had a really good
one of them.
hashtag on it.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy
Okay.
had like an orangish red surface. Let me stand up. The stem fell off because it's rotten. You can see the tic-tac-toe pattern that I put in there. That was an immediate bruising. I would not eat this ever. It might be safer than today's bagged lettuce, but not much. So that's an example. And if I break this open, let's see what happens. It's yellow, but it is starting to turn blue. And I'm not sure I would eat this one even if it didn't stain, just because it's the red pore surface. So that's an example of one. I think we had some others.
Bruise it like really quick.
This one also has a red pore surface, and I would not eat this one. But, this one's a good example of how the tubes look. This one, if it wasn't poisonous, it'd be a good mushroom just because it's got a lot of flesh versus tubes.
You said, what was the last statement?
Oh, the tubes, this one's got a lot of flesh compared to the tubes, so to me that's always a good sign, but I wouldn't eat this one because it's got the red pore surface.
There's something about everything in the purple purple.
Yeah,
brown.
purple, you never find a good purple one.
The lilacs, yeah.
Are boletes bioaccumulators also? Do they
I-
soak up heavy metals?
I
It's a
don't
good
know, I've not come across that. I kinda thought maybe all mushrooms were, but I don't know that for sure. Does anybody else know?
Ken?
Morels definitely are.
Right.
Yeah,
And some of the puffballs definitely are, and I just don't think we know a lot about the rest of them.
yeah,
The ones that are mycorrhizal, they're pretty much self-contained within the roots of plants, so. And it depends on what soil they're growing in as well, so that's the other thing. I like nice woodsy places, I don't like, reforested old fields and stuff like that.
Golf
because-
courses.
Especially around here, the
next
old
to the
tobacco
train
field.
track.
The old
Yeah.
tobacco fields have arsenic and
Right.
mercury, because that's what they used to, kill the axial buds of the tobacco plants, so a lot of our old
Apple
tobacco,
orchard.
yeah, a lot of our tobacco fields are in bad shape.
huh, yeah, I hadn't either. Well, thanks for having me, you guys.
Thank
It's
you.
really
Thank
fun
you.
to talk to
Yeah,
mushroom
thank you.
people.
Thank
Yeah.
One quick thing too that we had talked about was that the staining is different upon harvesting versus hours later. So when testing any bruising or staining, to do so immediately in the field when you find the mushroom, because it might be very different once it's been in your fridge or transported home with you.
That's true, and the staining is not always immediate. I
Mhm.
think I forgot to mention that, it can take minutes, and I've read even like an hour, so you might, like in the field, do your little tic-tac-toe thingy, it doesn't stain, but by the time you get home, it might show that staining thing, so that could
So
change
does
your mind.
anybody know much about bicolor boletes? Because
I avoid them because they fall in that category, and I feel like they're hard to distinguish, the
They're
edibles from the
delicious.
non-edibles.
they're delicious and.
Yeah.
Dennis says they're
So,
delicious.
Several years ago, 2017, I think, we were having, dinner. And while Dennis and people were making pizzas up at the kitchen, cabin, was doing a little mini seminar on bicolored boletes. And they bruise, but they bruise more slowly.
Okay,
And there's a look-alike, but it's it's red pores as opposed to yellow pores.
okay.
Like 2 weeks later, we went to see the eclipse over in Tennessee. And I found so many bicolor boletes, it was amazing, and
Yeah.
we just feasted on them.
Having
Having just gone through all the, look for this, look for that stuff,
Yeah.
cabin.
They're one of the most common animals.
They
Yeah.
are.
And we,
And I feel like if you know what you're doing, and you know exactly what it looks like.
Can you find a picture of that?
Yes, for sure.
we grilled them and dipped them in marinara sauce, and they were wonderful.
Yeah, the stalk is
There's some
yellow
that are-
and pinkish.
A cooking question.
But it has yellow pores.